11:02 a.m., August 9, 1945. An atomic bomb exploded 1,500 feet above the town of Nagasaki. The fierce wind, the heat rays reaching several thousand degrees, and the radiation caused by the explosion smashed, crushed, burned, killed everything in sight, and reduced the city, the center of the city, in a rubble of stones and everything you can imagine.
I was working in a supply office of Mitsubishi. I was working there and I was getting tired, and I said, we didn't get enough to eat. No, we didn't get enough sleep because we have constant air race. I was on the second floor of this wooden building. And so I just walked over to the windows and looked outside, and there was a beautiful sight. Underneath me was a beautiful Nagasaki harbor that's famous for its beauty.
Yeah.
And they compare that to Napoli in Italy. So it was lovely. So I was looking outside, then suddenly I saw this flash of light in the middle of the sky across the bay from my window. It was right above railroad station in Nagasaki City. And I was startled, but my boss saw me standing by the window and he yelled at me. He said, "Get away from the window," you know. So I said, "Why is he yelling at me?" So I turned around, tried to go back to my desk. But before I can reach my desk, building was hit with such force that it shook like a huge, I have never been into tornadoes, but it's something like that because of the wind. And so I threw myself on the ground, on the floor, covered my head with my hands. That's the way I was taught to do that if there is any air raid. I didn't know it was atomic bomb, but anyway. And as I stayed there, things kept on falling on my head, on my body, and underneath me, the floor heaved up and it's sort of up and down like an earthquake. And it went on for a few minutes. It came in as a wave, and every time that came and something falls on me, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm not going to last very much longer." And I said to my mother died the year before, and she was my God then. You know, I didn't have any religion. So I said, "Oh, Mother, please help me, I'm going to die." Well, anyway, finally it stopped. So I got up and looked around, and the place was filled with yellow dust and with acrid smelling gas or something in the air. Well, I couldn't really worry about that, and I got up quickly and looked around, and there was nobody around me. It's a big wooden building, and my office was in a large room. I didn't see anybody. On the other side, at the end of the room was ceiling fell, and it slanted down on the floor. Later on, I found out people over there got killed, but I was on the other side, so I was lucky. I got up and ran over, got up to go to the air raid shelter that I was supposed to do. I wasn't even afraid. You know, it was such a shock. You know, such a shock, you do those things sort of automatically, instinctively.
Absolutely, yes.
So I ran outside. then I had to run through the factory area, and they had a huge factory area that was with heavy equipment and so forth, and you had to run through there to get to the air raid shelter. So I ran in there. Then I felt something wrong with the place. Factory area was too bright. And I looked up and the ceiling was gone. The factory area was covered with very heavy glass ceiling so they can get the light, you know.
Yeah.
So then I looked down and I was standing on a splinter of grasses about several inches high. So I still ran. I didn't see anybody. I ran into the air raid shelter, and but with electricity was off. It's a huge air raid shelter dug into the mountain behind us, hills behind us. It's not a huge mountain, but usually they have electricity, but of course electricity was dark, and I was sort of blinded coming from bright sunshine. It was 11 o'clock in the morning. It was a bright, sunshiny day. So I couldn't see anything, so I sat down on the damp ground, wait till my eyes get accustomed to. Then I can hear people talking on the air and, you know, calling to each other. Then somebody lit the candle. Then it was really shocking. I saw bloody faces surrounding me, people standing around. And then I really got very frightened. And so I sort of cowered and went to the corner and sat down. In the meantime, my boss came. He was calling my name. My maiden name is Mizuta. They don't call Akiko. You know, they call my first name. I mean, last name. So he said, Mizuta-san, where are you? So I said, I'm here. And he came around. He said, oh, you're safe. So I said, yes, I am. And he had a big cut on his forehead, but he seems to be okay. He was a young man. He was my friend's husband. So we're about not too much difference in our age anyway. So he said, hey, didn't you volunteer for first aid squad before this?
Yeah.
I always volunteer something and I'm always getting in trouble.
So you said yes?
Yes, I did. And I said yes, and he said, well, they're calling for you. So somebody yelling to go to air raid shelter was dug under the hills, came that way. So they had two entrances. I came in here. People saying to go to the other entrance. So I went over there. Then I saw the people standing there. Line of the people. Their clothes are sort of smoldering. They looked dazed, standing there for help. And we had one doctor. He looked like he was injured and he had bloody bandages around his head, but he was trying to help, but we didn't have anything. So I went to him. I said, can I do something, doctor? And he said, yeah. He said, take that ointment and give it to that that man's burn. There was a man, his clothes were all torn, and his torso, his face and everything was covered with burns. And then he's standing there shivering. The skin's burnt, And he said, I'm cold. So, anyway, I went over, put all the salves on, but then I thought to myself, it's not going to help. Well, then doctor says he knew that it's not going to help him. Yeah. And he said to me, go over there to the corner, there is a little boy on a makeshift bed and stay with him. So I went over there with a boy about 15 years old. He was a volunteer, high school kid, and his neck was almost severed by the foreign grass, and the blood was spurting from that wound. And he was lying there quietly, and I went over there and I held his cold hand. Then he saw me looking at him, and he said, very calmly, he said, I'm going to die, you know. So I said, don't be silly, you're not going to die. But he said, then he called mother, you know, he's calling mother. So I said, your mother's coming, so you're not going to die. Then he said, I'm going to die because all my blood's coming out. Can't you hear it dripping on the floor? And I did. Then he died. He was quiet. Passed away peacefully. Then after that, everybody tried to help each other, but nothing much we can do. Around the middle of the day, I was covered with blood, and then I noticed myself that I used to be very squeamish about those things, but I didn't even care anymore. And then it was hot. You know, in Nagasaki in August, it's very hot. Then I heard the water running outside the shelter, so I looked and was a broken pipe and water spurting out. So I ran out and everybody yelling at me, don't you go out. I did anyway. And I washed myself, washed my blood. And then I said, oh, I feel much better. My head felt heavy, like I'm wearing something. So I said, well, what's the matter with my head? So I took a comb out and tried to comb my hair and got stuck.
You couldn't? Yeah.
I couldn't because it was a splinter of grasses just packed on my head. Well, that's it. And in the evening, then 5 o'clock came. 5 o'clock. We were so regimented, I didn't think I could leave before 5 o'clock. You know, it's a life or death. Yes. But, you know, then my boss comes around, this young man, and he says, let's go home. So I said, can we leave now? He says, yes, you know. He said, no, we go home together because we came from, it's high, about 20 miles north of Nagasaki. We moved there to avoid the big air raid. Nagasaki is a kind of big city, and we used to commute. Well, anyway, so we went outside the building. I didn't see anything until then. We walked outside the building, then was across the bay, Nagasaki city, was one big bonfire burning. And all about around me, everything is burning, destroyed. And then we used to take a ferry boat from this side of the bay to the other side to catch a train, but of course the ferry boat's not there. So he said, let's walk up to next station and try to catch a train. Okay. We didn't know next station was the ground zero. Yeah. So we ran through the burning buildings. Everything was flat. Japanese houses those days all wood on paper. We couldn't even get our bearing. We didn't even see anything similar, anything familiar. Well, anyway, we walked through. We ran through. We didn't walk. And those scorching heats almost got me. But we were young and we ran through it. And I saw a dead man standing upright, one of his leg raised as if to run. And I saw a cow just standing there while he was grazing. Then we ran and ran. Then suddenly I saw this thing is coming at me. And he was a man, but I never seen anything like a man like that. His face, he was naked. he was swollen about twice his size. His face had no skin, no hair, and his whole body, his chalk or like a skin, burnt skin, like a seaweed just hang loosely from his hands and legs and his torso, and he's coming to me. He's walking like a robot because he. Then he's saying water, water, and he coming to me. Then I got scared, so I sort of avoided him. Then I walked past him, and a couple of steps I took. Then I said, I have to help that guy. So I turned around, and he was lying there dead.
Dead on. Yeah, he was dead.
So, well, he was dead anyway, dead walking. So we ran and ran, and we went to the Murakami station. My boss said, oh, here is the bridge to, railroad bridge to the Murakami station. So he ran across it. I ran behind him, and then I looked out at the bridge tie was burning, and the flames licking, and I said, but I did. I ran over it because I had no other way. Yeah. And Murakami station was gone, and piles of bodies of men and women and children are sort of pushed against the concrete fences. It's like when you have whirlwind in the winter, the leaves get to the corner, it's just like that, and people just piled up. And well, at that time I didn't feel anything, we just ran. And we finally came to the place with the rice parties. We apparently went out to Nagasaki City. And so we slowed down, and he said a little bit more on. He said, since we can't catch a train, we have to run to his home. So it's quite far away, but he had his relatives lived not too far. He said, let's try to get over there. It's a little town. And so I said, okay. And we ran over there, and we finally, when we reached his village, everybody ran out and greet us. And his mother-in-law, cried, and she says, I thought you died, And that day we slept in his relative's house, but they didn't have any food or anything, We didn't have a food neither. Yeah. So next day we tried to catch a train to the Isahaya, 20 miles north of Nagasaki. That's where we lived. And we train after train of the filled with victims of wounded and burned victims came, and they told us this horrible story, whatever happened. We were not under the ground jail, so, then they told us about the day. That was very sad, and I can go into the details some other time, but anyway, that's it. That night, I slept on the floor, fully dressed, and I was exhausted. I fell asleep, and thinking about my mother, I was so grateful my mother died the year before, so she didn't have to go through that.
Damage caused by the atomic explosion. Leveled area 6.7 million square meters. Damaged houses, completely burned, 11,574. Completely destroyed, 1,326. Badly damaged, 5,509. Total, 18,409 houses. Casualties. Killed, 73,884. Injured, 74,909. After Nagasaki, we look only at one war to show that no lesson is ever taken from one war to the next. After World War II, America did not understand that communism is first an ideal, the ideal of everyone according to its needs, which was exactly the contrary of the law of jungle of capitalism, everyone according to his buying power. And America did not understand that you don't fight ideals and ideas with bullets, but with better ideas and better ideals. At the condition, of course, to give the example. Otherwise, you send your young people to be killed in the name of your lack of culture and psychology. And they will die gloriously or not, believing that they die for the sake of their country.